Om Ashatu Ma Sadgamaya Tamasho Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya Abir Maedi Rudro Yatte Dakshinam Mukham Te Namang Pahi Nityam Te Namang Pahi Nityam Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from death to immortality. And evermore shine in our hearts with your resplendent face. Om peace, peace, peace be unto us all. Today heavy subject, but those will come in the middle and then go away in the middle, how to work. Difficult. So we have read the other day that Pragyanam Tachagayanti Veda Sastra Vidarada Visharada. The expert in the Vedic scriptures, they say Pragyanam, that is called Pragyanam. And that is expressed in two ways, Ananda and Brahma Sabdabhyam. That is expressed in verse number 6. Ananda and Brahma. There is another name, two other name is Ananda and Brahma. Now, the question comes, what is Prajnana? What is that right absolute knowledge? That has been expressed in the verse number 7 and 8. So what it says? That Srinoti yeno janati pashyati cha vijikrati swado aswadanam vijanati sitancho ushnadikam tata. That chaitannam vedanam tat sarva vedanasrayam alaksham shuddha chaitannam kutasthang lakshayet srutihi. Srinoti ja yena, by which, what consciousness is behind, by which we hear, Srinoti. Yajanati, we know. Pashyati, we see. Bijighati, we smell. Sadhu, aswadana, you taste some food which is or something which is sweet or sour, and the feelings, sita, ushna, it is heat and cold. That means all these are experienced by that. That is called prajnana. By that consciousness, which allows vedana rupam, it brings the experience, heat and cold, good taste, bad taste, smell, seeing, hearing, all the five senses and their corresponding objects, how they get connected, how object is there, senses are here. Yes, that connection may be external. You see, the object reflects in the eyeball, it goes to the sense organ and to the brain. That much is okay. But their perception is not possible. That's why if I look like this and might think of something else, I'll not see what is going on, I will not hear what is going on. Therefore, mind is important. But mind cannot see. Behind the mind is the intellect. Intellect brings association. I see something, I say it is called pillow. How it is called pillow? The rays of light from the pillow comes, falls in the retina, reflected image, goes to the sense perception, to the brain. Physical, this much is physical. Neurons are all activated there, but this is all physical. Next comes the mind. I don't see, I cannot catch it. And then mind also cannot decide anything. He needs buddhi. That means it is like the fuel engine. You put one word and Google engine just goes in a split second, searching so lot on boom, 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 bring us all the result. And here in our brain, doing, oh, it looks like this, the size is like this, and this is this. I have experienced that before. So it matches with that, matching. Google engine search internally happening every day, every moment. And that is the buddhi. Buddhi ascertains, it is called pillow. But then you also not knowledge. Buddhi is jada. Buddhi itself is dull like this. So buddhi is illumined by something behind it. That is the light of consciousness. That is called prajnanam. That prajnanam, that wisdom, that light of eternal light of the Satchidananda self reflects on that pillow idea which buddhi presents. So as a result, then buddhi is recognized, it is recognized that it's called pillow. So no experience is possible unless the light of consciousness reflects on that. So that we read, that Chaitanyam Vedana Rupam, it is all the Vedana means knowledge, experience. That is the Chaitanya, that consciousness. It manifests as the knowledge, because that is the Sarva Vedana Ashrayam, that is the foundation of all experiences, all knowledge, all action. It cannot be indicated like this is this. It is called Shuddha Chaitanya. It is the pure consciousness. Kutastham. It is what is called unchangeable, and Kutastham is also
Substratum.
Foundation which remains the same all the time. Kutastham. So, Eta, that has been, who says this? And the Upanishads say these words to indicate that consciousness. They use the word Shuddha Chaitanyam, pure consciousness. Upanishad says Shuddha Chaitanya. What is Shuddha Chaitanya? Shuddha Chaitanya is this prajnanam, this knowledge, this light, all action, which cannot be indicated by any direction, and Kutastham, the unchangeable absolute, that has been indicated, and that is the prajnana. So this has been beautifully described, the what is prajnanam. Then also now, 9 verse will be going to describe about us little analytically, trying to understand this experience, what I have just mentioned. So 9 verse says, today's reading, Buddhi avachinna chaitannam, Buddhi avachinna chaitannam, Vrityarudham yada bhavit, Vrityarudham yada bhavit, Jnana sabdabhidham tarhi, Jnana sabda abhidham tarhi, Jnana sabda abhidham tarhi, Jnana sabda abhidham tarhi, Tena chaitanya bodhanam, Tena chaitanya bodhanam. So, buddhi avachinna chaitanya, this is to be understood. Chaitanya is consciousness, it is everywhere. But here it is buddhi avachinna. My buddhi and intellect grasp the pillow. That pillow is only a small limited object. When it creates the image in my buddhi, that means the image goes from here to the eyeball, to the nervous system, to brain, to mind, and mind then calling upon the intellect to specific object. This is buddhi. But then buddhi avachinna chaitanyam, the chaitanya is infinite. Chaitanya has no barrier, like space is infinite. But you put a piece of pitcher or a glass in the space of the glass. Space is space. Space has no division. But our chinna is limited. You limit the space within the glass space. We say, oh, this table is taking too much space. Actually, you cannot divide the space. This table has come here. Space has nothing to do with it. Space is space. But we say table has taken this space. And you remove it, oh, that space is available now. So it is all our misconception. It is opportunity limitation. The concept of limited space is in the infinite space. Similarly, infinite consciousness, in that a concept of a pillow, a concept of any object which my buddhi can conceive, that comes first, and that chaitanya, that consciousness when reflected on it, vritti aruhram jada bhavet. Vritti means mental modification. Let us go to Patanjali's philosophy a little bit, then we will understand that what happens when the ripple comes in the mind lake and the sun's light fall on that, suppose, then you can say it is a wave. So one is the wave. Wave is coming out of the mental modification. This is called mental modification. So many objects are there. My mind takes a modification of the shape of the iPad, or this of the table, of this book. When it takes, there falls a reflection of the consciousness. Uninterrupted consciousness everywhere gets limited. And in our mind, I am looking at you. Actually, what is happening? What is there? I do not know. All experience is happening here, according to this. That the impression what my buddhi is creating brain, not brain behind the brain, what is creating that? That is my perception about the world. That's my knowledge about the world. I saw. I saw does not mean exactly what is there. What you saw in your brain has shown you. That's why you say, oh, I got confused. I saw him, but he said he didn't come here. Someone came looking like him. That means that conception what I have in my buddhi, in the mind lake, a vritti, wave comes of a form of, say, Rama or Krishna or Ramakrishna. So that wave, when it comes, the light of consciousness is always there. It reflects that unlimited light into a limited light. And the vritti drops and we get the knowledge. We say, then we recognize that it is called, that's the vritti, concept of vritti. So, buddhi avachinna chaitanyam, when buddhi, our intellect, limits that consciousness, infinite consciousness, and the chitta becomes wavy in the wave, yada bhavet, then we say it is, oh, it is Rama, oh, it is John, oh, it is the table, oh, it is the clock. All this limited knowledge is happening with the vritti of the mind. One vritti rises, and when the light flashes on that vritti stops, we get the knowledge of that. Then again, another vritti, we look like, you see, everything, it's all image. So many images are happening in my mind. And waves after waves and waves are happening. So one wave goes, another wave comes, another wave comes, another. That's our perception. But it is, consciousness is everywhere, but it is focused on the vritti. Just think that in the wave, there are calm ocean. Think about the calm ocean. And there is one wave. And on that wave, the sun's light falls on that. So you see one wave. But there are many waves, limited, unlimited waves. You see here and you turn your eyes, you see waves and waves and waves and waves. But that wave is gone. This wave arises. This wave is gone. That comes. So whenever the wave falls, the consciousness reflected on that immediately reveals us the knowledge. That's why vritti gyan, it is called vritti gyan. Vritti is the mental modification, knowledge arising because of the vritti, of the modification of the mind. Jada bhavet, when it happens, then we call jnana sabdo vidham tarhi, that is called the knowledge. Teno chaitanya bodhanam, by that we understand there is some chaitanya, there is some consciousness. Otherwise, how it illumines? If there is light, There comes the light. That's why you pray. Lead us from the unreal to real, lead us from darkness to light. This darkness, oneness to light, when light reflects, then see the room is here. When the light is not there, the objects are here, but deep dark. So we cannot separate table from the pews, from the microphone to the clock to the chandelier. We cannot do that. When consciousness reflects on certain object, then that knowledge or the particular knowledge of that object reveals to us. So that is called the vritti jnana. So then jnana sabdo bhi. Yada vritti pramanena, by the proof of this, what is called the vritti, limiting wave of the mind, Vishayena ekotang brajet, when it identifies with the object, the pillow and the knowledge of the pillow, when they go together, then vritti vishaya chaitanya ekattena phalodaya. Then we get the perfect knowledge that it is called this. And vritti loye prapte jnanam, when the vritti gets dissolved, then what remains? Jnanam chaitanyam. That knowledge is called the knowledge of consciousness. Chaitanyam evata. And prabodhanaya chaitanyam, to awaken that consciousness, we call knowledge. Anyhow, the main thing is what is describing here, that you need a vritti to understand anything. We understand anything in the world of reality, that the mind should make a modification. And whatever modification it is taking, it carries to the mind, and mind cannot recognize. Buddhi has an album. So it has its all collection. That's why Buddhi is the ascertaining part of the mind. Buddhi confuses, mind confuses. Is it this? Is it that? Is it that? Buddhi confirms, as I said just now. There's that engine, that search engine. As soon as mind presses the subject to the Buddhi, Buddhi immediately starts searching. And from old infinite number of collection, he tries to match. What is this experience now I am seeing? Whom am I seeing? That matches with the previous photograph. And when it matches, then immediately the knowledge falls on the wave, and we say, oh, this is Rama, this is Jesus, this is John. So this immediate knowledge comes. This is called the vritti jnana. Very good subject to meditate upon. There's only the consciousness. Sunlight is everywhere. When there is no vritti, you don't have no specific knowledge of wave. Understand this point. When there is no wave, suppose, on the ocean there is no wave, you can say it is ocean, that much. You cannot have the concept of bubble, ripple, wave, foam, no. But now think, it is wave, it is ripple, it is bubble. So when my attention goes to wave, what happens? Immediately it happens in split seconds, such like in the modern or engine or the computer. You just set one word and see the immediate result. Where it is that it calls from that book and that place and this and that, Hindi, English, Sanskrit, Tamil, Telugu, language, this language, that language. Where it is, immediately calls quickly. Our brain, God has created that way. This engine has been created much earlier. So what happens when you see the bubble, ripple, but my focus is on the bubble. Immediately, split second, it runs to the eyeball, to the brain, and to the mind, and Buddhi immediately collecting all the information from his old stock, and it matches immediately. Oh, this matches with my previous album. So this figure, this bubble, I have seen before, and it is called bubble. And then immediately the knowledge dawns in us And then we check, and our how much knowledge we are having every split second. Uh, Looking at any object, every moment there is so much of knowledge. But how it is knowledge is happening? Because the light of consciousness is falling everywhere. When it's specifically one way, you get, we call knowledge. We call knowledge of physics, knowledge of chemistry. When you are focusing on one subject and the vritti happens there, the what is called the wave or form arises in the lake of mind, eh? And then the light falls, and then you match with the old stock, and then definition of the object comes, and then the vritti is not important anymore. I can understand. I say, oh, I have seen this object. So the knowledge is coming because of the vritti jnana. Brahma jnana is vrittihin. Understand vritti? I think don't understand anything. The first time, this is the first time. This is a very heavy subject. You have to read the Patanjali Yoga Darshana, Raja Yoga first finish, then you can understand this point. So vritti jnana means innumerable knowledge of small things. Brahma jnana means no vritti. That's why they say, scriptures say, when we are thinking of God, what happens? Look at that. My mind, though eyes are closed, my mind is running to this object, that object. And how do you know it has run into object? You see there is an image in your mind. You think of New York, you think of New Jersey, you think of India, you think of whatever friend, you think of your office. So it is happening in your mind. Vritti, 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 vritti. It's called vritti jnana. Now you are meditating on say, no, it is, I will not think. I will think of Ramakrishna, 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 Ramakrishna. You try to do that, create that vritti of Ramakrishna. So what happens? If it is concentrated focus and more mind moves towards that, one vritti will remain. Mind will not create thousand waves, thousand thoughts. It will be one vritti. And that vritti is called Vedanta called Brahmakara Karito Chitta Vritti Rudete. Brahmavitti Tadakara. So Brahmavitti Akara, Tadakara Karita Chitta Vritti, Brahmakara Karita Chitta Vritti, Udeti. Then arises all these minor waves subside. All waves have become one wave. And the whole heart, the whole concept is saturated with one wave of Ramakrishna. And when that is flash of light comes, then they attain to the knowledge of Brahman, the absolute. Or in the form you have the vision or experience, whatever. So main thing, how it is happening, there is some consciousness behind. That light of consciousness falls on the vritti, in the lake of your mind. Imagine in your heart there is a lake, and that lake is a mind lake, and in that there are waves, innumerable waves and levels. No? So that is the light flashing on that, gives you the experience of that object. So, but we have to understand it is the only consciousness, the light of consciousness, and that light is called the praganam.
You said like that the individual vritti, the small one, the individual is when it subsides.
All become one.
Become
One
or
vritti is Ramakrishna, another vritti is Ramakrishna,
no,
another.
one vritti is like a chair, this vritti is table, this vritti
All will
like
melt
that.
into one idea.
Only one item. So now, when we are in deep sleep, I don't have all these individual vrittis, but I don't have knowledge of Brahman.
Because you are in darkness.
But all the vrittis are subsiding.
Subsiding in darkness also subside. Suppose here the light is there, I understand everything.
But light of consciousness is always there.
Light of consciousness, but it's covered by ignorance. Vritti jnana is organ. Whenever you are getting into vritti, even vritti, the vritti does not arise, that is tamasa nature. Vritti arising rajasa nature. And one vritti is sattvico, and transcending that sattvico is what is called knowledge. Stages of development probably. So anyway, not to get into too much. বাংলা কি বলেছে? বুদ্ধির সহিত একাকার ভাবপ্রাপ্ত বুদ্ধির চিদাভাস যখন অহংকার কাম ক্রোধ বৃত্তি অনুসারে, এই যে কাম ক্রোধ বৃত্তি অনুসারে তদাকারে পরিণত হইয়া ওই বৃত্তি সকলের অবভাস হয়, বাপরে বাপ, তখন বুদ্ধি অবচ্ছিন্ন কূটস্থ চৈতন্য সেই সেই বৃত্তি জ্ঞানের জনহিতা হয় বলিয়া জ্ঞান শব্দযুক্ত হয়। Anyhow, we have simplified that in our own language, no? Just imagine that you are sitting on the beach and watching the infinite number of waves and ripples and foams, and so you are focusing on one side, you see one wave. You're focusing on the other side, another wave. No, this is separate. This is separate. A split second, it is giving you an idea. It is a huge wave. It is a small wave. It is a mediocre wave. It is bubble. It is ripple. Because each knowledge, but what is this thing? What allows you to understand? The sunlight. In the pitch dark sunlight in night, you cannot understand the position of the waves, ripples, bubbles. So similarly, when here we are embedded in the ignorance, we don't understand anything. That happens in the susupti state, deep sleep state. We are talking about in this awakened state. And in this awakened state, all the things we see, they are different from each other. How do we know different? My knowledge says table is different from the floor. How? My perception. How the perception is happening of the Brittik Jnana. And Brittik is illumined by the knowledge of Brahman, who is all the time. Kutastha Chaitanya, or we call Shuddha Chaitanya, Brahma Chaitanya, Pragyanam in another technical term. So, but this diversity will dissolve when we see that it is all these vrittis in buddhi. It is a buddhi vritti. In the buddhi, it is happening in your mind only. Exactly outside, we do not know. That's why so much confusion we live in. You say some word, I hear something else. No? And then I go on fighting with it. You said that, why did you say that? No, I didn't say that. No, I heard. You heard that. But you have added something to it or subtracted something from it. And that message has come to the eardrum and it went to the brain and to the mind. And my buddhi immediately collected some information from the backside, and then light of the consciousness just flashed on it. How could you say that? And then you go down angry or sweet or sour, whatever experience comes.
অশুদ্ধ বুদ্ধি অবচ্ছিন্ন চৈতন্য দিয়ে দিচ্ছি, ভাবছি যে
অজ্ঞান অবচ্ছিন্ন, হ্যাঁ, অজ্ঞান অবচ্ছিন্ন চৈতন্য we cannot get অবচ্ছিন্ন because অজ্ঞান we cannot see the vritti even. If to see the vritti you need some light. Suppose when you are in deep sleep, you have no vritti even there, I do not know. I have no perception at all. So the sapna avastha, there is something, and jagrata avastha, in the waking state and in the dream state, these are happening. That's why in the dream state also, some Sakshi Chaitanya is working there. Otherwise, you cannot see the dream world. And with eyes open, whatever you see, it is the object, vritti arising in album, inside album, photograph album, millions of billions of trillions of storage house, and that brings immediately sparks here inside and creates a wave in my mind, like, and that is illumined by the consciousness, and I get one breath in a split second. I say, this is this. No? So, 9th verse, the English translation will be like this: the consciousness that is limited by the intellect, when mounted upon mental modification, That's why it is a very technical book, technical area. The consciousness is everywhere. But consciousness limited by the intellect. My intellect should grab it. External object, image in the eyeball, going back to the nervous system, brain to the mind to the intellect. It should come to the intellect. And I, of course, intellect means my ego is also there. That's why I understand. The consciousness, when it is limited by the intellect, in infinite consciousness, but my mind, my intellect is limited with the consciousness of particular object. Then, when mounted upon a mental modification, it comes, a vritti comes in the mind, chitta vritti, it's called chitta. Then what happens? Is named as knowledge. I know this wave, I know this is called the floor, this is called the photograph, this is called the clock. Vritti, as I'm looking, instantly it is happening. That vritti, lighted by the light of consciousness. And that is called the knowledge, our secular knowledge. And then revelation of consciousness happens through this process. And then it reveals to us, oh, I know that. I know it is called this object. Now, 10 and 11 verse we read already. Jada vritti pramanena vishayena ekotang brajet. When mental modification, now my mental modification, the vritti in my mind, got identified with the sense objects. It can relate with the object what is there and here, connect with that is called the true valid knowledge. Then the result is the mental modification of the sense objects become one with the consciousness. Then I know, that knowledge comes then. When this object and my perception inside matches together, then we call I know. Before that, I don't know. I'm confused. What is this object? But when it comes to the inner level of our heart, in the chitta, and that vritti arises, and vritti is enlightened by the light of consciousness, and then it is two can be related, then we call this is my knowledge about this. I know. I saw it with my eyes. I touch it by my hand. All the five sense organs. Information does not come only through the eyes. I touch it. This information, oh, it is hard. Huh? You drink something sweet. Oh, it is sweet. How do you know? Tongue is carrying the sensation to the brain. All the five sense organs, each are connected with the perception in physical body through the nervous system to the brain. But that brain information is given to the mind of the five experiences, either seeing, sight, hearing, tasting, touching, and all these things. And then each can bring my experience about the objective world. When this objective world and my perception matches together. That is the verse number 11. When the mental modification get identified with the sense objects, through the valid knowledge by direct experience, I see it, I hear it, I touch it, I taste it, I smell it. Then the result of that mental modification of the sense objects become one with the consciousness. My awareness become one with that. And they say, I have experienced, I have seen it, I have thought it, I have touched it. At the dissolution of the mental modification, now the mental wave has risen and another wave is coming. So this must go. So when the one mental modification goes away, it is revealed that the knowledge is verily the consciousness. When that goes away, then you know it is only the sun of knowledge which has given you the experience. That means all our experiences, behind all experiences, is the light of the consciousness is falling upon it, and we are only giving a name. to that experience. To make one understand that it is consciousness, it is described by the word knowledge. So, to understand that it is consciousness, to make understand, let us understand, I know this. This consciousness, it is described by the word knowledge. This is my knowledge. I have acquired knowledge by studying this, by seeing this, by hearing about this. When you say, when vrittis go, knowledge remains. Now, you are not seeing, you are not seeing the ocean. But I am saying ocean, it is creating some vritti in your mind. The knowledge remains there. And then the immutable kutastha consciousness, limited by the intellect and mind, when it creates or generates those very knowledge to the senses, described as the knowledge of the air. Now, 12th verse.
We didn't do 10 and 11 Sanskrit.
ওই তো বললাম তো বৃত্তিলা পড়েছি I have read it. তদা বৃত্তিলয়ে প্রাপ্তে জ্ঞানং চৈতন্যমেবত. Tada, when the vritti gets loy, the vritti wave of the ripple in my heart is here now. Light reflects and it collects all the information. I say it is this object, table, object, it is a chair, object. And then what happens? This wave drops away. Because my mind moves into another subject again. Split second, how many things we are seeing. So, but this, when the wave subsides, that remains in us as knowledge. I saw someone standing there. How do you say that? That man is gone. When you saw, that image of the person came and your mind has perceived it and transferred to the buddhi and intellect found from the old stock. This is called John. The John's image came and you saw that and you came away, another image came, another image came, another image came. Now I am saying, I saw John there. How do you say that? Because the knowledge remains in the mind itself. With the dropping of the wave, the experience does not end. It remains in the chitta. That is called the sanskara. It creates sanskara afterwards. Tada vrittilaye prapte jnanam, that jnanam is chaitanyam evata. That knowledge is nothing but consciousness even. Prabodhanaya chaitanyam. To awaken this chaitanya, people talk about jnana sabdena pattate. It is called knowledge. 12th verse. Srinosi dikshase jat jat. Srinosi dikshase jat jat. Tatra sambit anuttama. Tatra sambit anuttama. Anushuta taya bhati. Anushuta taya bhati. Tattat sarva prakashika. Tattat sarva prakashika. I am chanting for you people. You are silent. What is the meaning? Chant with me. Srinosi bhikshase jat jat. Srinosi bhikshase jat jat. Tatra sambit anuttama. Tatra sambit anuttama. Anushuta taya bhati. Anushuta taya bhati. Tattat sarva prakashika. Tattat sarva prakashika. So 12 verse says, Srinosi, whatever you see, bhikshase, whatever you are seeing, jat jat, whatever you see, whatever you hear, sambit anuttama, tatra tatra, there itself, there is consciousness. You cannot see anything without that light of consciousness. You cannot hear anything without that light of consciousness. Otherwise, your perception will be invalid. You will be in the darkness. There will be object. In this room will be there. Object will be here. Deep, pitch dark. We don't see anything. We cannot make any distinction. When you are making any distinction, it is a vrittik jnana. It is not the absolute jnana. Vrittik jnana means this light of consciousness falling upon the mental modification. What is as it is a very Beautiful subject to think about. What you see is not important. What your vritti, mental modification is created inside, that you see. Psychiatric patients, what they see so many things which other person standing there they don't see. A ghost is standing there, I saw that. Oh, that man was coming there, I saw it. He's seeing in the mind. All our perception in the mind. But when the mind, perception of the mind and the object matches together, then we call knowledge, valid knowledge. Understand? I may imagine something which does not tally with the objective universe. It is not valid knowledge. It is a hallucination. Why hallucination? Because your own perception in your brain, what is happening in the chitta vritti, whatever you are creating, that does not match with the object outside. When they match together, that is called vritti jnana, that is called the knowledge, that's called the valid knowledge. But when vritti jnana is something different from external object, then it is called confusion. It's called hallucination. That's why even when people have some mystic vision, ordinary people don't understand. So there is a confusion. People think that it is hallucination. Ramakrishna used to say, uh, Ma, it is all hallucination. Is it all it's true? Or I am just hallucinating? Huh? Because it is not matching with the perception of others. Ramakrishna is saying that Ma Kali is standing on the veranda of the Ma temple, Kali temple, and watching the flow of the Ganga. Huh? But other people are standing there. Do they see? No. Then your perception is wrong. It is not valid knowledge. It is not matching with what is seen outside. No Mother Kali, no girl there standing. It's only a blank veranda. No, that is something higher level. But in the material level, if it does not match, you only say, I don't see and no one sees that, then it is hallucination. That means vritti jnana should match with the object outside. Then it is called
for
knowledge.
secular knowledge.
Huh?
For
All secular knowledge. Yeah. These are all secular knowledge. Srinosi, that's why it is said, whatever you hear, Bhikshase, whatever you see, Jat, whatever you see, Tatro, there itself, Sambit, the consciousness, this light of consciousness, Anuttama, superlative consciousness, that absolute consciousness is there. It is Anusututaya, it is all permeated and pervaded. Huh? Bhati, it is revealing itself. Tat sarvo prakashika. And wherever jatra, tatra, it is prakashika. It reveals the objects. It falls on this object, you see it is the pot. Falls on this subject, it is the pillow. Falls on this subject, it is the chair. It falls on this subject, it is the lamp. It is the clock. It is Ram, Rahim, or whatever personal. So that is the distinction. Tat sarva prakasika. So we don't see anything without the light of consciousness. That's the very Vedanta philosophy is coming here. This analysis is proving that you don't see anything but God. Why? Without the reflection of the infinite consciousness, you can't see anything. Your secular knowledge is impossible. Your material knowledge is impossible. You can have no knowledge. Even the way we understand the knowledge is what? Separating one thing from the object, another thing. A child is what we call he does not have any knowledge. Why? For him, the child, you give a toy and give something to eat. It is all the same. He will put this into mouth, this into mouth. There is no distinction. This is the oneness. That's why we teach our children, this is the nose. He has no concept what is nose, what is ear. He has no idea, eyes, nothing. We say, oh, this boy is learning very fast. Means what? He's learning how to discriminate from one object to the other object. Quickly.
when people get dementia,
That is lost. Huh?
Yeah, so one person I knew that had the cat. So cat and she, they are sitting together. She was eating cat food and the cat was eating the potato chips.
Yeah, because dementia. So the brain is not functioning there. That's why we call slow learning, no? Some children we call
Retarded.
it retarded. Retarded means what?
No, we don't use that word
Eh?
anymore. We don't use that word anymore. You don't say retarded.
We don't say.
No.
What do you
No.
say?
Developmentally delayed.
Yeah, developmentally challenged.
Challenge. Acha. Whatever you say, that means whatever is sweet language. But point is that they cannot recognize like other boys. They cannot discriminate, separate out one thing from the other. That is the point. It's challenge. Because of some obstacle, it is challenge. That is a sweet language. But to understand the fact, their understanding and their quick learning is not as good as normal. When it becomes normal, then say it has improved much. Maybe other thing. But anyhow, we understand there are extraordinary, brilliant student who are brilliant student. Sir Vivekananda was brilliant. He can read this book in a whole night, turning the pages, the book is read. He can understand each reading line and its meaning and keep separate knowledge in the knowledge quota. In his, he can remember after so many years and quote pages after pages. Swami Ranganathananda Maharaj was like that. Just read Swami Vivekananda in such a way. Sometimes he starts one line of complete verse any point, and maybe one page he continuously quotes exactly the same what is in there. So they are called the knowledgeable person, more knowledgeable and more intelligent. No, those who can distinguish things and know the details of each object. But Ramakrishna says this is good for the worldly success, no. But spiritual success then, Bahu Gyan or Gyan, knowing many, all separate, is called ignorance. Act of Gyan. When they know that all is permeated by one consciousness, we are talking about it. This is the study of the consciousness. We call consciousness studies, no? This is when one sees the one consciousness is the cause of all perception, then you are reaching towards that oneness. That is called the Brahma Jnana, knowledge of the self. Okay, I let me in English read and read the English 12 verse. So in whatever you hear and see, there is this unsurpassed consciousness with uninterrupted continuity. Consciousness never sleeps. Consciousness, there is no interruption in consciousness. All the time, light of consciousness. Even to understand, I don't understand. No? See, that is the proof. Proof is that, acha, consciousness is working now, I understand. Consciousness is working in this dream, I understand. But where is consciousness when I sleep? Do you have any consciousness? What? In deep sleep, we have any consciousness?
The witness.
How? How?
You're aware that you were in it and came out.
And you are not aware then,
Right.
but afterwards.
After.
That means that is the proof in back calculation, because we cannot do it that then. That's the point. You can have you have the awareness that you slept. That means darkness has been experienced by somebody. You say, I do not know anything in my deep sleep. No? Last night I slept so deeply. I do not know when you knocked my door. I do not know when it rained. No? We sometimes say. That means, how do you know you do not know? Not knowing is also knowledge. To know it is not. That also you need some light. It's a very deep subject.
What happens, Maharaj, to a Brahmagyani when he goes into deep sleep?
Yeah, then consciousness, one part of their mind remains aware all the time. We hear whether they sleep, whether they eat, whether they go. Part They are always aware of their divinity. That much remains. But for us, we totally sleep and sleep. But when you come out of the sleep, I say, I slept well. I did not know anything. To say, I do not know anything, you are talking no knowledge, you are talking about knowledge. I know that I do not know. Is it not? I know that I do not know. So to not know, I know. That means that consciousness, Sambit, is the same, shining in deep sleep, in dream, and in waking state. All the time it is there. That's the point. That Anusutotaya Bhati, it is uninterrupted continuity. It shines being the illuminator of all those experiences. Okay, now we can have some question. 5 minutes, 10 minutes of this. So we end in the verse number 12 today. But it's a heavy subject. You can contemplate over it, how the experience happens, how our knowledge happens about the object. Knowledge means knowledge of the object of the world. And knowledge of God also happens the same way. Our meditation also can be explained in this way. First, many waves to one wave, and one wave to absolutely no wave.
Tomorrow gospel class we will be.
What?
Gospel class tomorrow we will be.
Oh, tomorrow gospel class. Okay, thank you. So tomorrow will be our gospel class. Hello Nishant, how are you? Jaima. Is it possible to distinguish Chitta Akasa from Chida Akasa in waking state? Or is it only possible in Nirvikalpa Samadhi? Chitta Akasa we can understand. Chitta Akasa, Mahakasa. There is Akasa means the space. This is called the Mahakasa, this space. My hand is moving in the space, no? This space is called Mahakasa. Then another place, not this place, when you meditate and you go into a different realm, that is in your mind, that space is created, that's called the Chitta Akasa. And go beyond mind, that is called the Chid Akasa. You are not merging, but you feel that it is the conscious world of consciousness. And transcend that, that is called the Nir Akasha, Nih Akasha, Nirakasha. 4 space idea in the Vedanta. We live in the Mahakasha. We ordinary people live in the great space, Mahakasha. The space where sun, moon, stars, all our satellites are going. We are taking images of those. This is all in the great space, physical space. There is a subtle space. You close your eyes. Subtle space you can understand. Suppose in your dream, your eyes are closed, you are living in the great space, your body is lying in the great space, you are sleeping, or you are in your imagination world. When you roam in your imagination world, you are sleeping, closing your eyes and thinking something. It's a vaster world. When you dream, what do you dream? If your dream is really visible to us, then we would have said that it is happening in the Mahakasa. But it is happening in your Chittakasa. And Chittakasa is so big, and they don't fight with each other. Suppose 20 people sleep here in this room, and 20 people are dreaming. Someone is the Amazon forest, someone may be in New York City, someone may be someplace.
In Mars.
In Mars. Somebody has purchased land in the moon. So those space maybe you can see, but they are not fighting with each other. That's a big space, greater than Mahakasa. So that's called the Chittakasa. Chitta, mind. Mind means mind, buddhi, intellect, ego. The 4 called Chitta. Mano, buddhi, chitta, ahankara. No? These are 4 called Chitta. And the space is called the Chittakasa. Now, your mind becomes very finer and you start seeing some divine space. Huh? We are thinking of the space for Krishna, Krishna Loka, Rama Krishna Loka, huh? Buddhist world, Bodhisattva world. So this is in a not in the gross, not in the subtle, but it's going into another level of consciousness. That is called the Chit Akasu, ocean of consciousness, only consciousness. That's a Swami Vivekananda has described. You can read his very beautiful song of oneness, where there is no sun, there is no moon, like that he says. And last is there flows only a realm of ego. I. Last is.
শুধুমাত্র আমি আমি।
And that I level when it goes, there is a Ni Akasa. So that is the Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So this space is divided in this way. So it can be experienced in a waking state, yes, maybe for Brahmagyani, but in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, don't confuse with Nirvikalpa Samadhi in the fourth stage. This space we live is called Mahakasa. In the mental space of our imagination and a dream, they are called Chittakasa. And transcending that, when you remain in the God consciousness, only one awareness remains. You have not merged with the Brahman, but you have still awareness of separation. But that is only living in the cosmic consciousness. You are there, consciousness is always also there. Little trace of ego is still there. That is called the Chidakasa. Chit means consciousness. Akasa means the space. Space connected with the consciousness. And there is the last state, Ni Akasa. Say it is any space at all. It is called Nirakasa. Now, second question. When I experience Mahakasa, that itself is a Vritti Jnana, right? Yes, of course. In this great space, it is all my knowledge is Vritti Jnana. Whatever my mental modification, I see and I create a mental modification in my mind, a Vritti wave. Then do I say that Mahakasa is a Vritti in the Chitta? Yeah, you can say Mahakasa is a Vritti, yes, in my mind. This is my mind, I see the Mahakasa, it is in my mind, otherwise how can I understand it is externally there? Then is Chitta a Vritti in Chit? Chitta is a Vritti in Chit, that no question. Upon the consciousness, everything sprouts from the consciousness. So yes, Chitta, a Vritti in Chit. Chit, don't confuse all these things, only understand transcendental state, beyond body mind, or Mahakaso, Chitta Akaso, Chidakaso. These are all become possible because Chit, consciousness, is behind that. Mahakasa is revealed for what? This great space is revealed by what? That consciousness in me. Dead body does not see this space. We see because there is consciousness behind. So consciousness is substratum of all this different space idea. And when one goes to the fourth state, Nirakasa, their mind dies, ego dies. So who will say what? They cannot say. That's called Nirvikalpa. That's another question. Sri Ramakrishna mentioned to Holy Mother that he will reincarnate after 100 years. So has that happened? Do you monks know, but keeping it a secret? At least I do not know. I have not heard. I do not know. Yes, God, if God comes, she said 100 years, some say 200 years, and this corner, that corner, and that corner place. No, if I say northeast corner, go northeast corner from here through the globe, go down to the other sphere and come back. Everywhere there is a possibility. Where he will be born, who knows? Anyhow, we don't have to think about that. Rather, we should think it is enough that Ramakrishna came. He lived a life, and the blazing life is here before us. And let us follow his footsteps and make our life bright and brilliant. And we do not know about, at least I have not heard that Ramakrishna is born. Yes, there was one Ramakrishna born that is near Belur Mount. It is about 3-4 miles away. It's called Uttarpada. And the boy was born with a little beard like Ramakrishna. And then they become a subject of attraction for whole Calcutta people are all rushing at their home every day to see Ramakrishna. I do not know what happened to that Ramakrishna now. So anyhow, we do not. Another question. Why does the body temperature rise and get so warm during japa or Ishta meditation? Body temperature rises and gets too much. Don't think. I think I do not know. You talk to your guru when you think of meditate on God. Which part of your body you think of God? In your heart chakra, or in your head chakra, or wherever, I do not know. So that is
Blood rushes there, so it becomes a little heat.
body becomes warm. I do not know. Maybe you are thinking in a very high level, in the head chakra or crown chakra or forehead chakra.
Blood rushes there wherever.
Yeah. Now, normally it should not be. That's why our gurus teach us. So it should be spontaneous and slow and gradual. No? Abrupt change is not good. And another Bengali question has come with the সমুদ্রের তরঙ্গের খেলা আবার বুদবুদ সবাই কি মা মহামায়ার অনন্ত খেলা. Yes, all this play is the play of the divine. You can say divine mother's play. Yes, you are a mother worshipper. You can say it is all mother's play. And Raja Yoga will say it vritti play of the vritti, mental modification, chitta vritti, is all the play going on. But yes, we believe in all the philosophies. Name whatever you like, these are all play. Go beyond play, there is absolute peace. Another question. What is the significance of the tradition of Tantra in Vedantic teaching? Significance of Tantra. Tantra is called the book of practice, and Vedanta is called the book of philosophy. Philosophy, Vedanta says there is absolute one everywhere. And how to reach that process? That Tantra teaches that process of sadhana. That's why the practice of Ashtanga Yoga or all this and that. So it has correlation. It is not contradictory. Tantra means, but to understand, Tantra means seeing Mother Divine everywhere. That means the expression of the divine consciousness everywhere. Expression of the divine consciousness. Everything is an expression. And Vedanta teaches that expression is Brahman, but Brahman cannot manifest. So when it manifests, you have to say it is Shakti. You are sitting, but you are a musician. I don't hear your music now. But when you throw your voice, then I see that you are there at the same time. Voice of music is also audible. So that is the point. Two things go together. So it is not contradictory. So when you see the expression, we call Mahashakti, we call Divine Mother. And when we see, or in the term we are reading today, it's called Vritti Jnana. Vritti Jnana. Knowledge with the Vritti, ripples. And ultimately, Vritti is not the end of the sadhana. Vritti Jnana will be all Vritti, all modification will be one Vritti, and that Vritti will drop. And that Vritti will be the Vritti of Brahman. Brahman, knowledge of Brahman will remain there. Anyhow, so thank you all for so many questions. And all questions are not to be even explained longer time. And there subtle things are there. Our practice, we should emphasize on our practice. And all these questions will be easy to solve when we practice more. And by God's grace, mind will be pure and it will be able to catch the inner spirit of it. Okay, so thank you all. See you tomorrow again for gospel class at 7:30. p.m. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. ঘুরিয়ে নাও না ফোন থেকে
আমাকে দেখতে পাওয়া যাবে না। আর কি করি? Instrument.